What a weirdo. Ugh. A little uglier than the lesser siren, that's for sure. Look at those ugly little feet. Ooh. Ooh, actually you can really see those lateral spots. Look at that. They're just holding here. So, let's see if he'll go down this hole actually. That'd be kind of interesting. They just almost seem like a hodgepodge of strange body shapes and weird body parts. So they're really interesting, and this is actually the first one that I've ever seen. Howdy everybody, and welcome back to Jack's World of Wildlife. Now, you may be saying, wildlife? I see no wilderness here. And astute observation. You're quite sharp. We today are in a lovely suburban neighborhood in southeast Texas. And as you can see before me, there are plenty of drainage ditches full of water and full of gigantic salamanders. Now today we are on the hunt for the three-toed Amphiuma. Now that's a lot of complicated words to describe a very interesting creature. These are gigantic salamanders that get quite long and are quite interesting. Now they actually do really well in this kind of ephemeral neighborhood setting where these water sources are pretty much here year-round, and when they do dry up, they have lots of crayfish burrows that these animals can seek refuge in. So we've got a pretty good idea that we're gonna find quite a lot of them around here. So we're gonna poke around and hopefully we can find a nice big juicy one to show you all at home. So without a doubt and without another moment, let's see if we can find the three-toed Amphiuma. Okay, take a look right here. Exactly what we're looking for. Now we're in a little neighborhood, so we're actually gonna move this beautiful three-toed Amphiuma, but it is a nice, big, hefty one. We were like, oh, we can go check the roadside ditches. Maybe there's one in there. And we literally, Andrew, turned on his light and he's like, oh, there's a huge one right here. So we're gonna try and move this individual somewhere else so we can film it well without, you know, disturbing any of these people, because I'm sure they're winding down for bed because it is nighttime. So I'm gonna turn my light off and I'm gonna try and coax this Amphiuma into this net here. So get ready with that net, because I'm sure this sucker's gonna be ready to rumble, because it's deceptively slow right now. God, what a weird looking creature. Oh, yeah. Let's see how we can. There we go. Oh man, look at that sucker, and you can see his little legs. Look at those little feet. So unlike the siren, which we caught earlier this year, the lesser siren, and we actually found a little one today, these have back legs. Oh, so slimy and weird. Now this is actually a pretty common place to find these, in these kind of roadside ditches where they're hunting all sorts of little invertebrates and small aquatic animals. What a weirdo. This one's actually really calm. I was expecting a burst of energy, but we're gonna move it into this little 5-gallon, then we're gonna move it somewhere else so we can do a proper, easy video without stressing it out too much, and then we'll probably just bring it right back here. Oh, wow, look at that. Ugh. A little uglier than the lesser siren, that's for sure. Look at those ugly little feet. Ooh, I'm sorry, you're not ugly. You're a beautiful creature. Rinse my net out. There we go. I'll try and scoop this sucker up. Yeah, back right in. Oh, nope. There we go. Take a look at that, folks. Golly. Wow, look at that. Take a look at this one. Got another little one. Oh, man. So weird. It's like a Sicilian with little legs on it. You can see very dark in comparison to like a siren, and a little longer, lankier. Let's see. just as slimy and difficult to hold. Here, maybe if I get down kind of low with it. Use both hands. Look at that. Another big one? Wow, this place is loaded. So as you can see, we actually went looking for these in pretty naturalistic habitat earlier today, and we actually didn't have any luck. And now that we're in the middle of like a freaking neighborhood ditches, we're seeing tons of them. This is actually like the 4th one we've seen. God, snaking through this grass. Well, I'm sure he's just gonna get back to the water. This is where he wants to be, but really cool. They're kind of using these crayfish burrows as a way to kind of like hide and kind of, we've seen a few of them like with their heads out, and then we walk by with the lights, they go sink back down into these crayfish burrows, which is ridiculous because this is a very urban environment for them. I mean, we're on like a neighborhood street. There's plenty of houses and stuff. We parked in one of Andrew's friends' driveways, and we're just poking around the street, and we're finding super bizarre aquatic salamanders. Super weird. Look at that. There's this hole right there. It's just so... Let's see if he'll go down this hole, actually. That'd be kind of interesting. Let's go, huh? Maybe. Maybe he doesn't feel threatened enough. Look at that, folks. This is just such a weird creature. This is a salamander. Kind of back paddling. But very strange. Very strange. Look at that. God. It's like eel-like almost. But this is in fact an amphibian. A bizarre one for sure, but an amphibian nonetheless. I really don't want to get freaking bit by it. Look at that. Oh, little legs kind of poking around. Look at that. Now these actually can deliver quite a bite. So I hear. They have very sharp, calcified little teeth that are quite nasty, and they have a surprising bite force. And on top of that, they're just creepy. So I don't want it to bite me. But really, really interesting. We're gonna move it somewhere else to get some video filmed with it. Oh, look at that. Oh, gross, his little feet. But what a weird looking creature. It's like a salamander, a Sicilian, and just like a gigantic phallic worm had a baby and created just the ugliest thing imaginable. But this isn't the ugliest one I've seen. Sometimes they can be real kind of two-toned and patchy and ugly looking. But this one has got kind of cute little puppy dog eyes now that I'm looking at it. Okay, you're not so gross. But really interesting. We're gonna move it and get some cool shots of it if we can. What a weird animal. Oh my gosh, how bizarre is that? Operation Amphiuma transport is a go. Amphiuma secured. Moving to a secure location. It's okay, buddy. Just a few more minutes and you'll be back to living in drainage ditches in Southeast Texas. It's gonna be great for you. It's gonna be a great character building exercise, and we promise that you're gonna come out of this a better amphibian than you went in. Well, Operation Amphiuma Move was a success, and now we're in a little more of a secluded area on some private property, and we can take our time to educate you on this spectacular creature. Now, these animals, once again, are salamanders, and they're quite large, and they are nocturnal predators. Now, they are pretty much the head honcho, other than maybe egrets and all sorts of herons are going to feed on them, but they're going to be the head honcho in those kind of ditch waterways. They're feeding on everything: frogs, sometimes smaller amphiumas and sirens, crayfish, minnows, really anything they can get into their mouths. And they feed in a very similar way to a lot of other aquatic salamanders, a kind of suction motion where they open their mouths and kind of suck the prey in, and then they snag it with those razor sharp teeth, and then they munch it up, swallow it, and eat it. So they are quite impressive predators, and although they might look unassuming, they do have quite a powerful bite and quite impressive teeth. But these are super interesting. Now, unlike the siren, you're not going to see external gills on these really after the pretty early stages of their larval development. So they actually have these little gill slits, which are kind of not super visible, but I believe also they will gulp air because, as you might imagine, these kind of roadside ditches don't have the wealth of dissolved oxygen that, say, maybe a stream or a creek would possess. So they have to have a lot of adaptations in order to survive living in these kind of ephemeral, temporary water sources. So they're actually able to kind of estivate, which means kind of go dormant in mud during dry months. A lot of these inhabit certain wetlands that can kind of flood and then recede. And so the ones that get trapped in puddles and things like that, they can survive a good amount outside of water. So they are typically found in water, but they will move if absolutely necessary. Golly, what a weird looking animal. I mean, very similar to what you might see in a large Sicilian. Very kind of, two-toned, a light belly, a dark, dorsal side, small eyes. Really, a Sicilian would be lacking just those 4 limbs. It's so bizarre. It seems like, these hind limbs are almost kind of a waste. Like, what are you even using those for? But then you look at these front limbs, and they're half the size as the back ones. What a weirdo. It's like, whoever was making amphibians was like, we're gonna make another Sicilian, I think, but we have a few really tiny plethodon arms left over for making all those other woodland salamanders. Maybe we should just throw some on and it'll be fine. They just almost seem like a hodgepodge of strange body shapes and weird body parts. So they're really interesting, and this is actually the first one that I've ever seen. We actually found a few more, which you guys got to see already, but this was the prize jewel, the largest, the heftiest one that we figured would be able to take a small transport there and back pretty well, so we could showcase this species for you all at home. But they are just so weird. I mean, take a look at how they kind of probe around. Look at those little arms, working as hard as they can, and these little legs. Oh, excuse me. But I mean, take a look at how this animal kind of gets around. You see, there's a kind of a backup motion where it kind of snakes its body backwards and helps it kind of locomote backwards. But then, as they probe around, they're mostly using these sensitive heads, and they're also lined with this kind of sensory organ. They're on the lateral sides. They've got this little line that actually helps them perceive movement, which aids them in predating smaller animals. But look at these tiny little legs. Oh, easy, it's okay. Little arms up front, almost nothing. You can see right there to the side are those little gill slits. It's like a tiny hole on the side of the face, which we'll try and get some shots of later so we can showcase that to you. But look at these tiny little feet back here. What the heck? Now, right behind these feet is the cloaca. And that's where the magic happens. That's how you make more Amphiumas, which you might think, why make more Amphiumas? 'Cause why not? But they actually go through internal fertilization. So these animals will mate, and then the female will have the eggs fertilized in her body. And typically Amphiumas will lay a good mass of eggs in a thick clump of mud. And the female will actually coil around those eggs and guard them until they hatch. And then once again, those juveniles will have those external gills for a little bit, and then they will possess these nice little gill flaps, which once again, I'll try and get some footage of because they're really small, but an important part of their biology. Now, once again, they are covered in sensory organs, and you can see along the face, they've got these little pores. And those actually aid in sensory, because look at those tiny eyes. Probably not the most effective eyes in the animal kingdom, if I had to say so. So they really rely on a lot of this probing motion and some extra sensory to find their way around and find food. God, they're so freaking cool. Look at it gulping some air there. Well, see, little bubbles came out of those little gill slits. So you get to see them in action. God, what a bizarre animal. So weird. I feel like I'm using that word a lot today, but we found some truly bizarre creatures. Wow, so cool. Well, we got what we need, I believe. And we shall now return this denizen of the deep, or rather, shall I say shallow, to its ancestral home of the neighborhood ditch, where he apparently has lived a very full and happy life and will continue to live and perhaps procreate, which is what we wish to happen. So we're gonna move this sucker back and we shall film his timely release. Well, we had a lovely time with our fantastic beast here. Oh, such an amazingly unique creature. So slimy. And I'm just gonna let him flop right back into this little drainage ditch where he was hanging out. Come on out, friend. Oh, look at that. No, it's okay. It's okay. He's like, no, let me back in there. Oh, come on. Oh, wow, look at this. No, wrong way, Buggy. Or keep going that way. Oh, I'm trying to get you back to the water. There it is. That's a nice place to be. There we go. Wow. Golly, that thing is big. Well, we had a great time tonight looking for Amphiumas. We found a plethora of them, which was really, really nice. We were kind of getting to the end of the day worrying and wondering if we were going to find any. We went dip netting at a lot of places, and it turns out the best place to find them is in these little neighborhood ditches, which worked out for us because we got quite a few. So I hope you guys learned something about these super interesting and unique amphibians, because it was a really big pleasure for me to be able to see this species that I've never seen before and in such great quantity. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be sure to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of my posts or videos. Buy the new merchandise. Join the channel memberships for exclusive behind-the-scenes content. And above all else, stay tuned for the next episode of Jack's World of Wildlife. What a weirdo.
God, that was so easy.
Perfect.